Hello everyone and welcome to ILR Tier 2 Season 4 for the Brazilian Grand Prix, the penultimate round of the season. And alongside me today is Burnout once again. How are you doing, Burnout?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Dom. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Looking forward to this penultimate race of the season. Going into this, we've got a very interesting championship to be decided. 34 points separate top 8, and things are looking very interesting going into this race. It's make or break for a lot of these people in the league. They've got to make sure that it's all just they got to basically get the best results possible this race because some of them might not go to Abu Dhabi as contenders. And I'm pretty sure we'll probably go down from 8 contenders down to probably around sort of 5 or 6 by the end of this race. But Ben, going into this race, who's your money on really going into the Brazilian Grand Prix?
Um, Once again, based on like recent performances, I think your best bet is probably either on Maestro or Pelzeri at the minute. Obviously, both been really consistent in the past 5 races, and I think they've both just been on really good form at the minute. Obviously, for Overkill's in winning last race in Mexico, I think he'll be a dark force coming into the end of this championship. So it'd be good to see how he plays the part in the final 2 races here. But I think it's going to be a really good watch tonight.
Yeah, as you mentioned Overkill's there. We've had a few kind of dark horses out of the sort of the championship hunt. We've had Overkilled, we've had Kushmania. They've been taking wins away from the top 8. So that makes it quite an interesting dynamic in terms of people trying to outscore each other within that top 8 because they're struggling to actually win the races because there's people behind them actually capable of winning races too. So that means that the points that they can possibly gain, they aren't getting as many as they should be able to gain on each other. So again, it just means that everything's all tightened up big time. And after Mexico, it really and truly has tightened up between the top 8. I mean, you look at the top 2. I mean, we've got Maestro and Midzi separated by 4 points. You know, that gap was higher. Midzi has controlled his championship for quite a long time, and we're going into these last 2 races where it's going to count. And he's got to make sure he's controlled it for a very long time. But it is make or break these last 2 races. You can't afford to make any mistakes, and you can't afford to have an off weekend. You have to be on your game. And going into it, I think there's a lot of pressure on these top 8 particularly. So you look at it, I mean, look at the championship as it stands. We've got Midzi contending for the championship. He's currently, again, ahead. We've got Maestro in second place, who's been phenomenal. He's been very, very good. And he's been scoring the wins and the podiums when he can, and he's within 4 points of the championship lead. Behind him, we've got Josu, again, being super consistent. He hasn't even won a race this season, and he's there in third. So again, it shows it could mean that we could have a championship. The person who wins the championship could be a non-winner. He might not even win the race this season. Looking at other people who are down the list, we've got Bromson as well in 4th place. Again, super consistent throughout the season, scores the points. And then Chris Jones, another one who hasn't won. He hasn't won a race this season, and he's in 5th place, and he's only, how much is he off? He's off 23 points in the championship. So it's so tight in that table. In 6th place, you've got Pelzeri, being, as we said earlier, on form this season. Super job so far, and he's continuing that form going forward. And Jamie in 7th place, he's again won a race here and there, and then he's kind of took off a little bit recently, but he's right there in the championship too. And behind him, on the same amount of points, Dasfell, again, super consistent throughout the whole season. But that's been the thing. A lot of these guys have been super consistent throughout the season, and some of them haven't scored wins, and it's been there on the podium when it's counted. So we go forward, and it's going to be continuing the same story. And I love it when my mic cuts out. That's good, isn't it? Right, we're back. I hope I'm back anyway. But yeah, Ben, I mean, going in now, we've got Overkills who've just gone top in the session at 1 minute 7.646. Everyone's out there on sort of super soft compounds. I mean, Ben, what would you do at this point? Would you be on super softs, or would you sort of set a banker, or would you be on the middle compound available?
Based on my past experiences from league racing here, it's a great track to be at. You kind of want to just be on the middle tire. Don't really want to be pushing on that big tire. But then, yeah, again, with the new update, the tire types have changed. So maybe you could actually go on that softer compound and go longer. So these guys have probably been practicing all week trying to test out the new tyres and see how they affect the car, the tyres, you know. So maybe you can actually go longer on the softer tyres, but maybe you probably would still go on the middle compound. But yeah, again, I could be absolutely wrong, but we'll see how it is at the end of the session.
Exactly, mate. I mean, look how tight the times are from P2 down all the way down to sort of even P9. It's separated by 2 and a bit tenths from Dasfeld to Midzi. Maestro is on provisional pole as it stands on 117.270. Again, very showing his hand early here, but I'm sure we're going to see those times tumble as the session goes on. It's a very cloudy Brazil out there. I mean, Brazil, we've seen in real life, can pick up some very good races, some wet weather here and there, so we could have, again, the same sort of thing. And maybe it'd be quite interesting to have a wet race. We haven't had many of those this season, so if we can have a wet race to spice things up a little bit, then that would be very interesting to see indeed. Dasfa currently out there in second place. He's out there again on a second lap on those super softs, but let's see if he's actually pushing that hard. We're going to go on board with him. I don't think he's really pushing it at all, to be honest. So yeah, he's in an out lap really, and everyone's back into the pit lane. So again, people have done their initial runs and their banker laps, as we say, and then they're coming in back into the pit lane. They might try the soft compound tyre, the middle compound available, and let's see if they can beat those times again. So let's go down the list. Everyone is in the pit lane pretty much. Jamie's out there at the moment. He's currently in 8th place. Blazer Guns is down in 13th. Let's see what he's getting on with. He's currently second a bit down, 2.7 down in the second sector. So he's probably not going to be, again, not going to be a representative time for him. Here he comes the Sauber. Down this straight, it hits DRS zone around about now, and he's into the pit lane, so he's not continuing on. So a lot of people are just in the laps. Bibin, he might be going on to a lap. Let's go on board with Bibin. So here he goes, down into turn 1, brakes down into 3rd gear, turns it in, up the 4th, and short shifts to get the best traction out of the first 2 corners. It's a decent run through there. And he's going to hit the DRS once again down this straight. Now it brakes just before the 50-meter ball down into 4th gear and up to 5th again. Short shifting is very important here because you can just get the better traction out the corner. Now double right-hander, very tricky corner. You can be you don't want to be too early on the power hit, and he's got the line pretty nicely. Doesn't right too wide, down into 2nd gear. Again, missing his apex a little bit there, so he's struggling to get that car turned in. Again, very careful on the traction here, and then down into 2nd gear for the right-hander. Turns it in on the apex nicely. Very careful on the throttle once again. So a lot of this track is traction, getting the best traction possible. And now into the last corner, down in 3rd gear, and gets again shortest once again to get the better exit. And here he comes, rating now patiently around this straight now, and needs to be trying not to scrub off as much speed as possible down into this end part of the circuit. Across the line, and it's a 1 minute 8.3. So that's only P12 as it stands. So again, so how very tight this field is. You can't afford to make mistakes on this lap because it's such a short lap that if you make a mistake, you're going to lose a lot of time, and you could be down the order, and you could be anywhere from 2nd, and you could be all the way down sort of, you know, last position if you're not careful. So that's pretty much everybody done their laps. And to Beacon, it's interesting, did 1 minute 7.521 on the soft tyres as well. So pretty good lap there as well, so I'm sure that's I think he'd be pretty happy with that. I don't know if he will run again, because that's been a pretty good lap on that soft tyre. He might choose to leave it as that, or he might go all out for it for qualifying. We don't know what the weather conditions are going to be for the race, so depending on that as well, if it's going to be wet, people will just go all guns blazing on the softest compound tyre as possible. But if it isn't, and if this is anything to go by, people popping on soft tyres, that indicates that people are going to be, it's going to be a dry race, and people are going to be trying to get their first part of the race already done on the soft tyre and go longer in the first stint. So different strategies will be played out in this race, and we've seen that all season long where people have played a different strategy. Antovic once again doesn't improve on his second lap out there at all, and he stays P3, doesn't really improve at all. Dasveld is out there currently, he's starting a lap. Let's go on board with the McLaren driver, also a championship contender. Just past the SNRSs, so he hits DRS around about now. Yellow flags to 1 to 2, so a little bit of traffic ahead for Dasveld. In a good position here, brakes for the spin ball down into 4th gear. And now Chris Becker just goes up on a 7.225, so good lap by Chris there. Puts him in pole position, so that's a fantastic lap for him. Again, Dasveld's catching a lot of traffic here. This might miss his lap, and I think he's backed out of it. Yeah, he's backed out of that. He's not willing to go for a lap like that and get caught behind traffic. Midsy's out there too. Let's go on board with our current championship leader. He's actually in 9th P5 at 1 minute 7.538. And he hasn't improved on that. He's not going to go for any faster there. Pelzery might do a decent job. He has been in form recently. Let's see how he's getting on in the second sector split. And it doesn't show an improvement at all. So let's see through that last corner. Technically, it's not actually the last corner. It's technically the last proper corner. So we're heading flat out through here. He doesn't want to scrub too much speed off. And here he comes to the line in the Haas. It's going to be a 1 minute 7.1. That is provisional pole position for now. That's a good lap by Pelzery. Super lap, actually. He did a decent job there. Anyone behind him? Maestro is on the lap 2. Overkill, how's he getting on? He's doing alright. So let's go to Maestro. Yeah, I don't think he's on. No, he's not on a lap at all. He's back well out of that too. So he's not really on one. Dasfeld is, though, on another one after getting held up earlier on. So let's keep on board with Dasfeld. A little bit of error still on the exit for that double right-hander. It's very easy, and he's locked up a little bit, and he's missed the apex completely. He'll hug the inside. Need to get a good exit here. It's all that traction. Jamie gets out of the way very nicely for him. Again, very important to get a good exit here. Got a decent exit as you go through this fast left-hander, and now into the last corner. He's up ever so slightly in the second sector, so this is going to be an improvement by Dasfeld. So here he comes, this long straight once again. He's taking a very wide line. I'm wondering if he's backing out of this. He's coming into the pit lane. Yeah, he's coming in. He's backing out of that. So, again, people are kind of trolling us, kind of going like, oh, this is my pace, kind of, and then I'm going to pit in and put on another set of tyres for the last few minutes of the session. So, it is very interesting out there right now. I mean, the top 3 are separated by less than a tenth of a second. As now Josu goes into P4. He's now on 17.388. So again, times are super close between the top 10. It's nothing in it really from first down to 10th place. It's 6 tenths separating those top 10. So it's anyone's game really. If anyone can pick up a lap, then it's all to play for. As we've got a little bit of a quiet time here, we're going to go through and look through the Constructors' Championship. As it stands, McLaren and Ferrari have been battling away in this championship for a long time. 7 points separate the 2 teams. And then behind them in 3rd place, they have Force India. They're a further 22 points back there. And then in 4th place, we've got Haas doing super well as well. And then in 5th place, Red Bull are back there, and they're quite a long way back. So the top 4 teams separated by 26 points. And again, it shows those top 4 teams have got a lot of championship contenders in there. So no wonder it's so tight, because the championship is so tight in the Drivers' Championship as well. So it's tight for a reason, really. But once again, everyone's kind of in the pit lane. They'll be going out soon for their final runs, probably. They might have 2 runs left. People can probably go out now if they chose to and go out again, but realistically they probably aren't. They're probably going to wait for those final 5 minutes and do their best laps as possible in those final minutes of the session. Jamie, is he on a lap right now? Let's go on board with Jamie, our other championship contender. Being very careful. I don't think he's really pushing this lap at all, really. No, I think he's not really on a fast lap here. So we'll see what the second 2 split is, but it looks like he's not actually really pushing it that hard at all. No, he's way off, so he's definitely not pushing that lap. Flying Roddy's out there as well, but let's go with Antiv Beacon. Let's see how he's getting on in the second sector. Is he up at all? Can't see if he is. Let's keep with him. He might just be on an out lap here. Looking at the comments here, Bromson says in the stream chat, I don't like this track, and I don't know, it's one of those circuits that I didn't really like when I was playing, when I was racing on this game competitively. I like the track, but I'm not fast at the circuit. I was never fast at the circuit, so I never really liked it that much. But I think it is a good circuit though. I think for overtaking and racing, there's a lot of overtaking opportunities around it, so I don't think it's actually a bad circuit. I never got on with it, so I don't think I liked it that much, but that was my point of view that's my point of view on Brazil. But I think it's a good circuit for racing and everything. Midzy, here he comes to the line. Let's see if he improves. It's a 7.2. That's a P3. That's a good lap by him. He might have one more lap left. If he does a fast lap here and comes back in, he might have one more lap left. But I'm worried it's going to be very short. But that's not a bad lap. That's put him, within half a tenth of pole position, which is obviously currently being held by Pelzeri. But everyone is still in the pit lane, so Midzi has held his mark down. He's really just put his banker in completely. So it's all dependent on who else is going to be out there. I mean, there's a lot of people in the pit lane who haven't done their last runs, so we're going to have a frantic final 3 minutes or so of the session, where we're going to have all these guys absolutely going for it, and we're going to have the race for pole, really. Midzi isn't really on I think he's not really on a fast lap here. He's probably just coming into the pit lane on this lap. He's just try and get there as quick as he can, and just put on a new fresh set of tyres if he can, and go right at the end. But yeah, it's all very quiet on the second. Maestro's going out there in his outlap, so he's the first guy out there. Yeah, everyone's now starting to come out the circuit and do their final runs in the session. Ben, who are you thinking? Who are you betting on for pole position?
It's going to be very close. As you can see, it's very, very close. But I keep sounding biased, so I'm going to try not to. You know what? I think Chris. If he can get another good lap in, I think Chris. I think he'll get pole today.
That's going to be interesting. So here comes F1 Maestro now. He's going to start his lap here in Brazil. Let's run on board with the Force India driver. Currently second place in the championship. Brakes just down into turn 1, down into second gear. Turns it in, hits the apex nicely. Now gets a good exit for turn 2 and now turn 3. He's done those turns very well indeed. He's now hits DRS zone around about now. A little bit of traffic on the left hand side. Did they get out of his way? They do get out of his way very nicely. He brakes now just before the 50 meter wall down into 4th gear, turns it in nicely, and then gets a decent exit. But I'm wondering, is he actually properly going to fall out of attack now? Double right-hander, and he has backed out of this. Yeah, he's definitely backed out. So once again, he's going out for another run, another outlap, and going again after this lap. So he isn't actually on a fast lap right now, Maestro. He's just going and doing a level up after this. So he's going to go right at the end. Anybody else out there? Dasfeld is on a flying lap, I think. Double right-hander. Let's keep on board the McLaren driver. He's a little bit of an outsider in this championship race, but he can still cause an upset if things will go well for him. Taking his way around now. They need a good exit here. A little bit of a lock up on the front right initially, so he didn't get the best exit possible. Let's see if he's up on his time. Now last corner is a good exit here. A little bit of oversteer, but he's not actually too bad on the powers. Here he comes with a run to the line now. Is it going to be an improvement for the McLaren driver? Here he comes across the line. It's going to be a 1 minute 7.0, and it is provisional pole for the McLaren driver. It's a great lap by him. He's put the banker down for everybody to beat. Pelzeri, is he going to beat the lap time across the line? It's a 7.1. It isn't enough to displace Dasfeld. Chris is out there on an outlap. Midzi, has he got enough on this lap? Is he actually on a flying lap? Here he comes. He's going to be starting his actual flying lap here. Maestro is up though in the first sector. Has he got enough now? He's in the middle sector. He needs to get a good exit through these corners. It's all about traction in the second sector. You want to be very careful on the throttle indeed. Gets a decent exit through there, and now through this flat out left-hander. Is he up in the second sector? Let's see where he is. Is he up? He is 2/10 up on his previous best. Locks him a little bit on the front left, but gets an alright exit. Is it enough for the Force India driver to get in on pole position here? There he goes, waiting impatiently in the straight. Hits the DRS, comes to the line. It's going to be a 1 minute 7.0, and it is pole position here in Brazil. He takes it away from Dasfeld. Look how tight it is. 200ths of a second on pole. But who else is up there right now? Is it Midzi? Midzi's up there too, and Chris is up there too. So let's go on board with Midzi. He is further into the lap than anybody else who could potentially displace Maestro. Midzi doesn't say it's up at all, but we'll keep on board McLaren driver. Can he improve? He's currently P5. He wants to be a little bit higher than that if possible. So here he comes. Hits to DRS. He's to the line. Here he comes. Is it going to be enough to go in on improvement? It's not enough. It's only P5. He doesn't improve in the end. So Chris Blacker-Jones, has he got enough to take pole here? A little bit of oversteer on the exit. Fast left-hander. Let's see how he's doing in second sector. Is he up? He's not saying he's up at all. He's got a little bit of traffic ahead, but he might get a little bit of a tow from Bromson here. Bromson will give him the tow here. Here he goes, he's going to have a mighty tow down this straight. Is it going to be enough? And Bromson's staying it and let him have the tow. Here it comes to the line. It is not pole position, it's P4. But it does help him improve his lap time. And that is your qualifying all over and done with here for the Brazilian Grand Prix. What a tight qualifying session it is indeed. And we're in for an absolute cracker of a race if the times are going to be that close in the race too. But Ben, I'm going to let you take over and actually go through the order for the grid.
Oh, thank you very much. There we are then. F1 Maestro taking pole position here at Brazil with Dallas Fell just behind him in the McLaren in P2. Fat Pelzeri taking P3. Very good result for him once again. Chris Jones in P4. Very good result for him. Looking very, very quick indeed. Midzi in P5. Josu in P6. Fat Kaisi in 7th, 8th is Jamie, 9th Anti Beacon, SHZ Overkills, LR Blazer Guns in P11, very good result for him. ILR Bimman in P12, Flying Rozzy, Revolution in 14th, and Bunsen in 15th. There. My voice not doing very well today.
That was a good qualifying session. The top 5 were separated by absolutely nothing, less than a 10th, and that is impressive as we go into this race. It's anyone's game here, and the top 5 are all championship contenders as well, so this is going to be one hell of a race. And again, everyone set their times on super softs from what I saw, so again, no one really going for the middle set of compounds to start the race on, so everyone's kind of on the same sort of strategy. Everyone right now will be just getting into the groove now in loading their setups, looking at particularly the fuel. They won't be able to change the setups, but they'll be able to look at the fuel and just tweak the fuel load a little bit, depending on what they want. I would personally want to probably put a little bit more fuel in and just be able to push throughout the whole race, but people have their own kind of idea of what they want to do. Sometimes it's better to fuel lighter and have a better car in the early stages. So everyone is just readying up now, and we'll be able to get this penultimate race of the season underway. There we go, guys. Revving for 5 red lights for the Brazilian Grand Prix, the penultimate race of the season. And we are lights out, and away we go for the penultimate race of the season, heading into turn 1. Who's going to be leading into turn 1? Is it going to be Maestro? Is it going to be Das Feldman? It's Maestro who leads into turn 1 as we go wheel to wheel with each other, and it's going to be a wheel to wheel fight between the top 2 indeed. It's going wheel to wheel through the center S's, and it's going to be Maestro just in front, but is Das Feldman going to be able to hold it? Here he goes on board McLaren driver, but he's far back indeed, but he's not taking any risk at this stands. Maestro leads the way from Das Feldman in second place. As you can see, it's all pretty tight behind. Chris is just saying right behind him right now. It's wheel to wheel with Pelzeri. Pelzeri's on the inside, going to go around the outside, trying to go around the outside of Michael Jones. Is he going to make it stick? He just about does. He's on the grass a little bit, but he goes on the inside once again to Chris, and he gets the move done. Good move by Pelzeri there in the early stages, and it's going to be Jamie behind him. Jamie's all over the back as well. The Hassans are really getting on the action here. Pels is going to look to the inside. Is Jamie? No, he's just too far back, but we've got Midzi in 6th place. He's lost a little bit of ground initially in this start of the race. But what a first lap of the race so far. Everyone's kind of got into their groove, and it's not worth taking the risk at this stage. It's very early on in the race. He's got plenty of time to go. But once again, look at Jamie. He's right in the slipstream of Chris Jones. On the inside he goes. Did he go on the inside? He's gone for the inside, and he's going to go around the outside. No, he's not. He's going to try and cut back on the Ferrari driver. Here we go, on board with Jamie here. He's in the slipstream. He's going to try his best. Going to go to the left-hand side, and Chris Jones is not going to fight it at this point, I don't believe. On the inside, Jamie gets the move done, and he's into P4. So currently the stands, it's Maestro who leads the way from Dasper in 2nd place. He's pretty close behind indeed. Pelzeri in 3rd place. 4th place with Jamie is a Haas 3 and 4 currently. Jamie in P5, Midzi in 6th place. He's with this group at the moment. And then we've got Andrew Beacon in 7th place. Josu in 8th place. And then Overkill's in 9th place. And Flying Rozzy in 10th. So it's all pretty tight. That top 10 is all pretty tight at the moment. But you can see they're all separated in groups really. As now Chris is over the back of Jamie. As Jamie's lost a little bit of ground to Pelzeri. So this fight between Jamie and Chris isn't ending yet. Now DRS won't be activated anytime soon. It's next lap It's on the third lap of the race, but Chris can use slipstream and the ERS at this point. He's in the slipstream, and he'll be using a little bit of that ERS in that Ferrari. Here he comes, he's slipstreaming as much as he can into turn 1. He's going to close up big time round the outside. He's going to go around the outside. He tries to go around the outside, but can't make the move stick at all. But let's go to the top 2, because it's all hotting up here. Maestro and Dazfel are battling away, and Pelzeri has closed up big time on the top 2. He's right with them, so it's a three-way battle for the lead of the race at this early point of the Grand Prix. Jamie is slightly further back. Chris Jones is obviously battling him and Midzi, so you can see this sort of separated into sort of 2 little groups here. We've got the top 3 battling for the win, and we've got 4, 5 and 6. They're all battling for 4th place, so they're all starting to separate a little bit up front, but it's all pretty close. And round here, it's very important to kind of keep within the slipstream, because that helps you in your race. If you kind of lose the slipstream, then it's going to hurt you big time. And Jamie's kind of starting to feel a little bit of the effects of losing the slipstream, because he's dropping back a little bit, but he's still kind of getting it. It's not as powerful as it would be if he was closer up with them, but he's still getting a little bit of that effect. But once again, going back on board with Pelzeri, this top 3 is closing up big time here. Dazfel, though, will have the DRS on F1 Maestro, so here it goes. He's in the slipstream, he's going to have the DRS. He's closing up on the forcing the driver, but can he make the move second turn 1? He's probably too far back, is he? Yes, he is. He's just too far back. He's going to wait again for the next DRS, though, through turn 2. He's a good exit here. He's got a decent exit, but once again, Maestro's got a good exit too, so it's all about this DRS. Has he got enough speed in that McLaren to get past him? And it's not a long enough straight for him to get past him. So once again, Dazfel has to stay behind Maestro for another lap, but it is very close between these 2 in terms of pace. Pelzeri just sitting back right now and just letting these 2 battle away. And he's looking at it as a point of view, just trying to see if he can pick up the pieces, because if these 2 start battling, he's right there to take it away from them. So, but he is closing up once again. So this is still a 3-way battle, but at this point, they're all just being very careful. It's early in the race. They've got another 32 laps to go. It's not worth taking any risks at this point, particularly if you're in the championship hunt. And these top 5, and this top 6 actually, they're all in the championship hunt indeed. So once again, Dazfel right behind Maestro. Has he closed up enough in this lap? He's right there once again in slipstream. It is still very close. It's 0.3 of a second separating the top 2. So there he goes. He's in the slipstream once again. He's going to have the DRS as well. Is he closing up enough into turn 1? You're going to go on board with him. He's closing, but is it enough? No, it's not. He's going to try and wait again for the second DRS point. He needs a good exit and set himself up for this next corner. And he's getting Maestro gets a good exit there. And it's not enough. This straight is not enough to get past the driver. So he's not close enough. Again, we'll have to wait another lap. And in the background, we've got the Mercedes battling with the Red Bull. We've got Midzi, who's got past them. Chris here. It's a battle between the 2 of them. So actually, let's go on board with this, because Midzi is battling with Chris. Chris has sort of dropped back a little bit from Jamie here. But again, this section is like you can't really overtake here. It's not worth going for it. You got to wait for those DRS points. Those top 3 again, as I mentioned. But it is starting to close up a little bit here. Actually, Jamie is starting to close in on that top 3 battle, and Chris is following him, and so is Midzi. So we could have a 6-way battle here for the lead of the race. It's going to be insane if that actually happens, because Jamie, it's looking like it's closed up a little bit. But as they've started to, as they're all in DRS of each other, it's all sort of concertinas a little bit, and everyone's kind of in their own bubble. They're all in their own little bubble here. But once again, Dazfel is closing on Maestro. Is it enough? This time he's slipstreaming and DRSing down this straight on the inside of the forcing driver. He goes on the inside, and it is a done deal for Dazfel. It is a done deal because Maestro's on the inside for turn 2. Dazfel leads in the space. It's wheel to wheel. As look in the background, Pelzeri's gone wide. I think he's gone wide. He's gone off the circuit, and he's lost so much time. But once again, we're going on board with F1 Maestro. Goes to the inside of the McLaren driver into this corner, and he's got that move done. Or has he got that move done? It's wheel to wheel with both of them. It's a fantastic battle for these 2. They're all both in the championship hunt, but once again, it's Maestro who retains position. He's in P1 and gets that position back after being overtaken by Dazfel. So great battle and great little battle between the 2 of them as they're trying to just keep away. But this has allowed Jamie's now in P3 as Pelzeri has made a mistake. Pelzeri went a little bit wide off. I think it was turn 3, and went wide, and just I think the dirty part of the circuit just took him off. and that's lost him a lot of lap time, and he's now down in 6th place. So it means that the top 5 are now Maestro, Dazfel, Jamie, Chris, and Midzi. But Pelzeri is still in that battle, but he's just lost a lot of ground that he didn't need to lose. Dazfel, once again, is in the situation from Maestro. It's kind of the second situation once again. It's going to be Dazfel on the inside of turn 1. He's going to get that move done, I think, pretty easily. Or has he? Because again, Maestro is trying to go around the outside, but Dazfel retains position in P1, but Maestro will set himself up for a better run out of this turn 3. He'll have the DRS, he'll have the slipstream. He's quite close this time, but he's going to settle for P2 for now and let Dazfel lead him around and wait for the next DRS activation point. So these two are absolutely going ham and tongue at this point in the race, and Jamie will be getting in on that too, because he's in P3, he's a further 3 tenths back. So this battle is happening all through the field. Chris there as well, he'll be closing in on that top 3 too, and so will Midzi. But Pelzeri, he'll be trying to get back in to that top 3 where he was before, because he doesn't want to be sitting and down in 6th place, and doesn't want to be sitting there too long, and he wants to get, obviously he's got a championship to try and win too, and all these guys, this top 6, they're all in it to win the championship. So it's fascinating to watch these guys absolutely battle it out and have the contenders up the front of the grid. But once again, let's go back to Maestro. How is he doing against Pelzeri? Against Dazfel, sorry. He's 7 tenths back, so he isn't in the DRS. He's in the DRS, but he isn't close enough probably to make any sort of move. But Jamie, in fact, is probably closer to Maestro than Maestro is to Dazfel at this point. So let's see how Jimmy fares here. Both of them will have DRS on each other. So Jamie will have it on Maestro, and Maestro will have it on Dazfel. But once again, it's probably, because they all have DRS on each other, it's probably not really going to be any overtaking at this point. They're all kind of following each other. As look again, you can see Midzi really close to Chris here. So these two are going to be battling away. Behind you got Pelzeri and the pressure from overkills. But once again, it's all very tight because of the slipstream, because they've been all keeping within their slipstream and their toe. No one's really breaking away, and the leader never really breaks away around here unless they really have got the pace. But it's all it's all closing up here. It's really closing up. Let's put a little bit of detail on the screen. It's the tyres. So right now, Flying Rossie's on the soft, and you can see people outside the top 10. They're all on different compounds. People on mediums and soft, so different kind of looks at strategy. So that can mix the order up a little bit towards the end of the race. Let's go back with Maestro. He's within half a second of Dazfel. He's a little bit closer than he was this time a lap ago, but is he going to make a move into turn 1? No, he's just too far back. So you can be trying to get a good exit through this center S here. And that's the idea. You want to get the best exit possible. Which he has got a decent exit, but so has Dazfel, so it's probably not enough to get past him again. But look at the back, let's go with Midzi, because this is probably a closer battle indeed. Let's go with it. It's going to be on the inside of Cliffhanger Jones. Here he goes, down the inside he goes of Cliffhanger Jones. And he's wheel to wheel. He's on the inside, on the 3rd line. And Chris is on the outside. It's going to be Midzi who gets the move done. As Chris doesn't say on the inside. He tries to have a little look, but Midzi's got that move done into P4. And that's a good move by the McLaren driver. It's a move that he needs to make in this championship if he wants to keep hold of that championship lead at the moment. Good move by him, as he's going to try and go on pursuit of Jamie, who isn't too far ahead because they can get very close to them indeed. And Chris, once again, very close with Midzi again. He's not breaking away at this point, and they're all kind of feasting off each other's slipstream and DRS at this point. No one's breaking away, and no one's actually got enough to break away. Dazfel, again, he's kind of, he's still up front. He's still doing a decent job. And he's within 6 tenths again. He's 6 tenths ahead. But look at that. Chris is now down into P5. Look at this. See what happened to Chris here. Where's Chris gone? Chris is actually in the pits. Chris is pitted in. So he's coming into the pit lane. He's going to put on a set of, is that going to be soft? Yeah, it's soft tyres for the Ferrari driver. And away he goes. He's the first one to blink. And he's looking at the undercut. What it will get is an undercut, potentially, if things will go right. And if he doesn't get in any traffic, he'll have free air. He might have the Red Bull come out in front of him here. So let's see how it all goes with Chris. Let's see where he comes out. And he will come out behind the Red Bull driver. So he might have a little bit of traffic if it doesn't go right. So he needs a good outlap here. And hope that he stays and he can actually get the undercut done. But looking once again, Maestro and Dazfel battling away for this lead of the race. Looking at the championship in terms of things, Dazfel, well, at this point, is a little bit outside that top 5. But if he wins the race today, he'll definitely be within the hunt of the championship, probably going into the last race of the season if all things go well. As it stands, he'll be taking out, I mean, he's going to be taking out 13 points on his teammate who leads the championship. But in the background, Overkill is battling with Antiv Beacon. Let's go with this. I think he was. Yes, he was. Oh, okay. Overkill has gone very deep there. He's been nudged off a little bit. As now Midzy gets his 3-second time penalty. So that's the first penalties for the championship contenders. That's not. He doesn't want to be doing that too often because that's going to cost him a lot of time, and it's going to cost him points towards the end of the race. So he's really, ideally, for his own sake, doesn't want to be doing that too often. But he's pushing really hard now to close up on Jamie here. They're all kind of coming to the end. These superstars will start fading at this point. They'll be struggling to keep on the pace. And it's all about just trying to keep consistent at this point and looking at the long-term race. Mizzy's gone very deep there. He's in trouble here because Pelzer is right over his gearbox. And he head into the last corner, but he's just not close enough to make a move. But if they stay out, I think, realistically, Pelzer is going to get that move done. Here we go on board the Haas driver. He'll have the DRS. And Mizzy, is he going to pit in here? He is going to pit in. He's had enough of those tyres as Pelzery stays up for another lap. So watch out for Pelzery because he's going to have fresher tyres for the end of the race. But he probably will lose out initially. He's locked up big time there. And now Josu's with him too. So let's keep on board with these two because Josu's going to be putting him under pressure. So here he goes on board the Red Bull driver in the slipstream. He's another one in the championship contention. Go to the left-hand side. He goes on the inside of the Haas driver. And he has got that move done. So Josu is now into P3. He's still yet to make his stop yet, as are the top two. But he's staying there in P3. So good move by him. And he's now in front of Pelzery. As it stands in terms of the championship, if you think about it this way, as things stand, Dazfel, who will win the race. I mean, he's currently down in 8th place, 34 points back. He needs to win today to have any chance of winning in Abu Dhabi. But let's go back to the front. Again, Dazfel leading Maestro. He's been in this for a few laps now. We're sort of a third of the way through this race. And now Chris has retired from the race. He's gone. Chris Jones is out of the race. So he's one championship contender out of proceedings. And that's going to knock him. I believe that will knock him out of the championship hunt now. Because he's in P5 as it stands. He's, what is he? He's 23 points back. Yeah, that's knocked him out of the championship race. Unfortunately, Chris is out of the race, and that means his championship is done, surely. Ben, react to that.
Well, from the looks of it, I mean, he had a collision with Kaisi, so I'm not sure what actually happened there. But yeah, that is really, really disappointing. I feel for him quite a lot, actually. But yeah, pretty sure that we're going straight to the stewards. But yeah, really unfortunate. But it's not the end of the championship at all for the rest of them.
No, exactly. And they've got to pay tribute to Chris though throughout this whole season. He's been super consistent, and he's going to be, unfortunately, the unlucky one in all of it because he's missed out on. He could have scored some good points today and kept within the hunt going into the last race of the season, but. Pay tribute to Chris because he's done a superb job. As now Maestro pits in and he gets it stopped on the marks just about, and here he comes. He's a good stop here. So bear in mind, Dazfel pitted a lap earlier, so he might get the undercut. It'll be medium tyres, so we can see different strategies going on. And mediums for Maestro, as for some reason it's like really slow for no reason. Let's see where he comes out in comparison to Dazfel. Dazfel in 5th, so that's where Maestro is. Where is Maestro? Let's go. I think Dazfel might come out just behind Maestro. Here we go. It's going to be racing. Oh, he's going to be racing each other. Dazfel on the inside. Is he going to make this move stick? He's going on the inside. And it's not enough because Maestro's on the right-hand side. They're going to go wheel to wheel with each other. And it looks like, to me, Ben, that Maestro has got the overcut done. He has, because Dazfel was in front of Maestro. That's a phenomenal strategy by Maestro. He's had a super in-lap there. And he's come out in front of Dazfel. Fantastic stuff by the Force India driver. That is fantastic. That is really good. That is, I mean, in terms of strategy, I mean, now that he is the net race leader as it stands, Maestro, but he's pulled off that overcut. He's got track position. I mean, we've seen earlier, track position means nothing around here because the slipstream and the DRS. So Dasfell still can have a chance and have a shot at Maestro, but Maestro have the younger tyres, have a lap younger tyres, so it's all an advantage Maestro here, as now Dasfell is in the slipstream. He's going to try and make this move down on the inside. He's going for it on the inside, and he's going to try and get the move stick around the, can Maestro hold it around the outside? He's trying to try and do it on the inside, and he just about keeps hold position, but once again, we have Dasfell on the cut back on the track here. But looking in the background, we've got Jamie going for the move as well. There's going to be three of them going into this corner. It's going to be three wide. It's going to be three wide. And they just about avoid each other. And Jamie, out of nowhere, is going to take hold of the net race lead in front of Maestro and Dasfell. What a fantastic move by Jamie. Just round of applause, really. How all three of them kept out of actually knocking each other off the circuit, I have no idea. But what a move by Jamie. How aggressive and how opportunistic he was. Because Dasfell and Maestro were sucking each other up, and he just saw the opportunity and went for it. Fantastic by the Haas driver.
Yeah, so I mean, it's literally textbook way to overtake. I mean, very aggressive, but very clean at the same time. Huge respect for all three of them because managing to keep out of the wall and not hit each other. I mean, it's great racing from all three of them.
It is indeed, but once again, Maestro is on the attack back on Jamie. He probably didn't see that one coming. That would have surprised both of them. So it's good that they've kept it all clean, but they know what's at stake. That's the thing. They know what's in stake as now Bibbins retired from the race. It's all about the championship here. There's no point knocking each other off the circuit. It's not worth it because one of them will end up in the wall, or one of them will end up, just out of things. We've only got 11 runners left in this race, so everyone's going to score points apart from other kills at this rate. The top three are still at the pit, so people like Rozzy and Bib and Brumson and Blade of the Guns, they haven't pitted yet. They've gone very long in the early part of the race. And Brumson will probably go quite long because he's on the mediums. But these three are going to be absolutely battling it out. And behind Midzi, he's in 7th place, 7/10 further back. He's going to be getting in that battle. And Josu in 8th. We've got a thorough battle on our hands. We've got from 4th down into 8th. There's 1, 2, 3. There's 5 people going in the championship hunt. They're all there together. And we've got Pelsary a little bit behind, back on them as well. So it's all in the air right now. It's a very exciting race indeed. We've got the championship contenders absolutely giving each other a hard time. And look at that train of cars. They're all together. They're legit all together here. Who's just pitted? It's Blaze of Guns in the pit, so he's pitted in. So that reads everybody else. Flying Rozzy hasn't pitted yet. Once again, Maestro is behind Jamie, but he isn't close enough to make any sort of move.
Just want to interrupt you for a second. I mean, just to take this in, Jamie has 2 penalties in a minute. Daz has 1. Maestro has none at the minute. He's very close though to getting his first penalties. I have to watch out for that for sure. That's going to play a big part into this for the final stint of the race, because if they don't know, it's going to be very interesting indeed.
Exactly, mate. Yeah, that's a good point because as you said, these guys are around. You mentioned the penalties that are here. I mean, that's going to affect the last result. So Maestro actually is in a good position, isn't he, Ben? He's in a pretty good position. He's got no penalties. He's going to be potentially heading towards one. It's actually a fact. It's all depends if he can keep it clean. But at this rate, he'll have less than Jamie in front of him. So it's not really a worry at this point. He's probably not. He's probably thinking about it from a point of view as well. Probably not a point of being even going for it. I mean, he can probably ask his engineer and see if they've got penalties. The engineer does sometimes tell you, so you might know. But he's probably thinking not going for it at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you do know they have penalty, you're not going to risk it. He's in the championship battle, and he's 4 points behind the championship leader, Mitzi, who's right behind him, and he's not going to really want to, risk his race just for one position when, they have penalties. So it's just mind games at this minute of time. You got to play it strategically to, pay off at the end. So he's doing a great job at the minute.
exactly. I think all these guys have been very clever in their approach in this race. They've shown why they're championship contenders as well. They're all together. They've all played it smart. They've just got on with their race, kept it clean, kept it out of trouble, and they're going to be bringing it to the wire. They're not messing around here. But look at that. Now, Maestro is right over the back of Jamie round the outside of turn 1. Going to trigger on the outside. And it's the deal. Oh, it's so close between the two of them. Looking like around the outside of Jamie here. And he's going to have the DRS once again on the Haas driver. DRS activated. Going to try and go around the outside. Going to brake just to be able around the outside. Can he hold this one? And he's just about got that move done. And it's F1 Maestro into P3, which is our net leader for now. So good move by F1 Maestro. He's got in front and he'll be trying to see if he can break away. But again, we've seen previously earlier on in the race, it's not easy to break away around here, but break out and just get away from each other because the slipstream, it's that powerful that it can be pretty difficult to get away. Once again, they've got the two McLarens behind, Dasfell and Midzi, very close. And look at that, Anton Beacon's gone for a move on Midzi here. And let's go to that. Oh, okay, Anton Beacon stayed behind Midzi, so it looks like Midzi doing a little bit deep there. And now Anton Beacon gets another penalty. So I think that's actually his second penalty of the race, I think, from what I remember earlier. Midzi,
Just what you,
go on.
just what you mentioned quick about slipstream. They can literally haul off this. So there's a lot of training going on. As you can tell, we've got about 6 cars in one, and I think there's a yellow flag there. I'm not sure what happens there, but they just conserve the tyres in the slipstream.
Midzi's gone. He's down in 9th. So that was the yellow flag. Here goes the Haas. Pillsbury's gone. It's his second off today. He went off early and he's gone. Oh dear. That's another one. And now Midzi's out back into 7th place. So it's all kind of just, Midzi's like in the end just lost 1 position because of what's happened. So yeah, that was a yellow flag for Midzi. And then Pillsbury span. And now Midzi's back into 7th place again. And he was 6th before, but he's got back up after dropping 3 positions back. So go on, Ben. Continue about the slipstream horror.
I've seen Midzi and not Midzi, Pillsbury and Beacon again in another situation there. Like they can conserve the tyres, and they see overkills on the back of Midzi. He's going to go for a move. He's going to go round the outside. Let's see what happens here. Going into turn 1, is he going to be able to get the move done? He's going to try his absolute best. He goes for it and he gets the move done, but Midzi's going to have DRS once again, and it just makes them be able to go long on these tyres, and you might want to go on board this battle because it's pretty heated here.
I'm on it, it's not looking good though for Midzi now, is it, Ben? Because Maestro down in 3rd, net leader, and Midzi's going to lose a chunk of points here because he's down in he's not going to be down in 8th. He's going to be down in sort of realistically 6th at best. It's still a lot of points to lose.
He's you know what? He's in threat. Let me just get the thing up. I'm pretty sure he's in threat of losing like 2nd as well. It's that tight. Like if you have one bad result, your championship's out the window just like that. So he's not. He was doing well at the start. Like his pace at the start was very, very good. But he just he's fell off, and this is the price he's paying at the minute. He's got to fight to bring it back into the last race for sure.
Oh, he's gone down the order. Flying Roddy's now pitted, so that's released everybody else. But once again, Maestro's 11 seconds back from Bromson, so doesn't have to worry about traffic and just get on with the race. Dasfell is keeping him very honest. It's been a race between these two from the start of the race, and it's continuing on for the next. It's for 22 laps. It's been absolutely fantastic to watch between these two because they've just kept it together, and they've again. Mercedes off the circuit. Anton Beacon's got now a 10-second time penalty for exceeding track limits, and maybe he might decide to call it a day. Maybe he was off the circuit. I don't know if he's called it a day or maybe not. But these two, they've got away. They're broken away from Jamie. So Jamie's in 3rd, quite a lonely 3rd kind of. We got Josu behind, he's about just over a second back on him. So Dasfell and Maestro are now in their little battle, and they're on their own. So So it means these two can really start to just, they're going to continue pulling away and get their gap out and get sitting there, and they'll start battling, I'm sure. So it's all to play for, and Maestro is going to be gaining so much here in terms of championship points. Really, Maestro wants to win this race. That's what he wants to do. If he wins this race, he's going to be in front of the championship, and he'll be going into, I'm sure, Abu Dhabi as the favourite to win it. I would put money on Maestro to win, but it's not over yet. We've got another 13 laps to go. Anything can happen in this race. We've seen Pelzeri spin, we've seen Midzi spin off, we've seen Chris go. So in terms of championship contenders, we've seen 3 of them in the wars. So it's not over yet. There's plenty of life left, as now Antipican has left, like I thought he would. So it's 10 people left in this race. All of these guys can keep going, will score points. That's the main thing. But look at our championship contenders. In terms of ones that dropped out, Chris has dropped out. He's obviously out of the race. But all our championship contenders are still in the race, and they're still going to be scoring points. But we'll see probably Pelzeri get knocked out of it, the championship hunt, and we'll probably see. I think Jamie will still, might be in it, but we'll see how things pan out, and we'll probably do a little rough calculation at the end of the race. But once again, Maestro still holding on to P2 and obviously net P1 as it stands. Let's go down. Josu's behind Jamie. Yes, Jamie has gone. He's gone straight on there. I just seen the hash go. He has gone straight on. Jamie's gone straight off the racetrack. He's gone. And that's almost like another one bites the dust. Because he's gone very deep into turn 1 and he's lost so much ground. And that is really unfortunate now because he's got to make that ground back up again. So that could mean, if you look at it, here is Jamie in the championship. He's down in 7th place. He's 34 points off going into the race. He's probably going to be out of it too. So that, if he, again, still a lot of life left, but it's not looking good for him now. He's made that mistake. So now it's Maestro, Dazfel, and Josu. But let's take a reminder of ourselves of Brumson right now. Brumson out there, he's in the lead of the race, 10.5 seconds. He hasn't pitted. He has just pitted now as we speak. He's gonna have a super fast Ferrari at the end of the race. He's going to be putting on a set of super softs probably. Let's have a look at what he puts on here. It's going to be a set of super softs. He's going to the end on those. So he's going to have a super fast car. Let's not count out that Ferrari driver because he currently stands P3 in the championship. No, P3, P4 in the championship rather. He's 18 points back. He's going to have a fast car. Is he going to come out? He's going to come out behind Midzi and Rossi. And yeah, he's going out behind Rossi. Yes, just about behind Rossi. So he's going to try and get past, ideally, really, next 2 guys ahead of him should be easy meat. He's going to have a super fast Ferrari. So that's going to be interesting to watch and see how that all plans out too. This has got a lot of life left. And, Overkill as well. We've overlooked him a little bit here because he's in P3. Got Josu behind him. Overkill has got on with his own race and he's done a good job. It's going to be it's a 14-1-3 as it stands. Yellow's in sit to 2 once again. Brumson is gone off. Is he? Yes, he has. Is he damaged his front wing? He has damaged his front wing. Brumson, as after he's come out the pit lane, I've just jinxed him like a... Oh, dear. I have jinxed him because he's come out the pit lane and he's lost part of his end plate. And that's him in P9. He's got blazer guns in his rear end. He's gone off the racetrack and he's let him go. And this is a torrid time because that means he's lost more points that he doesn't need to lose. And he put it in the wall. He's crashed out deliberately. He's had enough. Brunson's out of this race, and that is him out of the championship hunt as well. So both Ferraris have gone out of this championship hunt together. They've still got the Constructors' Championship to win too, but they'll lose points to McLaren, but it will still be a fight for the Constructors' Championship going to Abu Dhabi. But that's a big shame, isn't it, Burnout?
Yeah, and you said, did you say he crashed out deliberately? Because if he did, that's a bit disgusting. You shouldn't be doing that. And we talk about how it's a battle between McLaren and Ferrari, but Force India are also in this, and
they're doing well too. Yeah,
at the minute. Yeah, so again, both championships still not over. I mean, F2 is definitely the division to be in at the minute. I mean, I don't think you'll see this in the top tier.
No, you won't. I mean, top two has already been decided, doesn't it? I mean, it's been decided, I think, back in Japan. I think it was decided, or Mexico, one of the two. So it's this is incredible, and we've seen again so many twists and turns in this race. It's been this season. It's been a roller coaster. We've had so many different winners, and in this race we've seen so much happen all at once. We're now down to the last guys in this championship fight. Technically, you know, we've lost Bromson, we've lost Chris. There's two of the two of the contenders in the top 8 gone. We've got 6 contenders left. And as it stands, Maestro and Dazfel looking to have a haul of points come in. And Dazfel will take out points on Midzi. He'll take out, so he might still just about be in it going into Abu Dhabi. As it stands, I mean, Midzi, Dazfel will gain 10 points on his own teammate. And Midzi is 34 points back, so he'll just about be in contention. He'll be 24 points back, so he'll be an outsider going into Abu Dhabi. But Midzi, you would assume, would be able to get past Rossi, but he isn't. Rossi's on the super soft, and he's a good 2.6 seconds ahead of him. So actually, Midzi's got to be looking in his rear view mirror on Jamie, and if anything, Jamie's one to watch here as well. So we saw Jamie go off earlier. Jamie currently sits, where is he in the championship? He's currently down in 7th place. He's 34 points off. So again, maybe not, because he probably will be out of contention too. But if he can, he could actually help Dazfeld here, keeping him in contention if he gets past Midzi. But once again, we're going back to the lead battle. Oh, go on, Ben. Sorry.
This is very good from Flying Rossi here. He can actually go to the end on the supers. I mean, he can definitely do another 8 laps. So I think that's game over for Midzi trying to get 5th place. It's still Jamie right now. Jamie's all over the back of Midzi right now. And again, not looking good for the challenger leader.
It's not, exactly. But as long as he scores points here, again, this is something that Midzi's done all season long. He's scored the points even when he's had the off days. Today, he hasn't had the luck, probably, arguably. He had decent pace earlier on. But he'll still score points. And even if that's 7th place, it's still 6 points in the bag, and it helps. But, you know, he's losing further ground to Maestro. I mean, as it stands, Maestro, he will score a full fat 25 points. And obviously we might have Midzi scoring just 8 at the minimum. Realistically, it's not looking that good. It's probably he's going to lose. Thinking about it, rough calculation, it's going to probably be Maestro will be 14 points ahead on the championship. So it's still not over. And look at Pelsary. Pelsary's down in 8th place behind this battle. So Pelsary can still get in this. But looking at it relatively, Jamie and Pelsary are probably the outsiders in terms of the championship contenders in this race at the moment, because they won't be scoring massive points, and they're down the order a little bit. There's a 3-race scrap between 6th, 7th and 8th, and these two Hasses could do Maestro a favour, Dazfel a favour, and Joshua a favour. That's the thing. These two Hasses, they're in the championship fight, they're just out, they're in it still, but by the end of this race they probably won't be in it. But they could really cause an upset and give massive advantage to the Force India drivers, particularly the Force India driver of F1 Maestro indeed. So it is all tight. Midzi, he needs to keep here in 6th place. It's absolutely vital he doesn't lose any more points. He can't afford it. And look at this. Here comes Jamie on the inside of Midzi. Midzi does not let him go through on the inside. No way, Jose, he says. And you're going to stay behind me for now. Once again, Dazfel's caught up to Maestro. It was 1.3, so he's now down to 6:10. So that fight for the win with 6 laps to go, it's still very much alive. Once again, it's absolutely super tense. This has been a fantastic race. Twists and turns whenever you go. And we're going to be heading into the finale in Abu Dhabi with everything to play for. It's going to be an absolutely cracking race. So be sure to join us next week for that as well. Same time and same place. It might not be on this channel. It might be on the ILR channel, depending on what they want us to do with it. So you never know. And once again, the Haas driver of Jamie is right behind Midzi again, and Midsy's under a lot of pressure. One mistake and that's 2 positions gone basically. That's fair once again, 4 tenths behind F1 Maestro. Look at that, here comes Jamie on the out. Actually Pelzer is going to go around the outside of Jamie, is it? And yeah, he's got that move done. So Pelzer now in front of his own teammate and he'll be trying to hunt down Midsy for 6th place. Let's go back to that lead battle now. It's 3 tenths the gap with 5 more laps to go. And it's all playful here. Dazfel really would like to win this race, but so I'm sure with F1 Maestro. He too wants to win this race too to gain even more points on the championship leader of Midsy. He really wants that. But, you know, Dazfel, realistically at this point, you know, he's going to be still in contention just about. But the more points he can gain, the better it is for him. And he probably wants that win a bit more. So, here we go. And for us, really, we probably want Dazfel to win this race. The reason being is because it means that we have more, it means that Dazfel will be more in contention than he would have been if he was in 2nd place. So, really, we want Dazfel to win this race because it just keeps the championship a little bit more open going into Abu Dhabi. Again, Dazfel is a bit too far back on that for Maestro to make any sort of impression, but it is down to half a second between 2 of them. Looking down the order, Overkill in 3rd place. He's got Josu behind. Now Josu, talking about him, again, being relatively quiet in this race, but you got to remember, Josu's in 3rd place in this championship hunt. He hasn't won a race this season, and he's 15 points back, and he's going to gain points on Midsy. So, Josu will still be in the championship hunt going into Abu Dhabi. So again, consistency has been key this season, and Josu has been exactly that. He's been super consistent, and he's continuing that trend in Brazil, and he'll go to Abu Dhabi with a good chance to still be within a shot of the championship hunt. So it's still super job by Josu. And let's talk about Josu. He's been quite quiet, hasn't he, this season? But he's been getting on with it, and this race has been an example of that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's literally been the slippery Spaniard. You know, he's just been there. He hasn't won a race. He's not won a race. He's got a couple of 2nd places. But he's just been there. He has been there. Very consistent. Probably one of the most consistent drivers here. And to be fair, a lot of respect for him. He's been very, very consistent, and you know, he deserves to be where he's at at the minute. He's done very, very well indeed.
Exactly, mate. And he's hit himself there, and he's definitely a dark horse going into that finale. I mean, as it stands, I mean, if he can get past Overkills, it'd be great. I think that's what you'd want to do, but it's a bit back on him. But I think it's, I mean, Ben, if you could look at penalties and see if Overkills has got more penalties than Josu, then we might have something to play with there.
So Overkill has 2. Yeah, Josu has none. So
yeah, maybe
good.
Joss. Yeah, well, maybe Joss. Wait, so you said Overkill's had 2 penalties?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
And then actually they're battling away here. Let's go back on board with these 2 because they're battling it out. But yeah, so, I mean, technically Joss doesn't need to battle Overkill. It's probably worth not battling him. So here he goes. He's going to go to the right-hand side here. He goes around the outside of the forcing the driver. Has he got that move done? It's still wheel to wheel with each other. They're banging wheels, and it's going to be the Red Bull on the inside of the double right-hander. Has he got the move done? He just about has, and he's got into P3. He's on the podium as it stands, and with the penalties and with everything, he will be on the podium. So fantastic move by the Red Bull driver. He wants to earn it on the circuit.
He's just got off. He's lost to Belzera. I'm so sorry for interrupting.
That's fine. Oh dear. Another twist. Another twist. I said earlier, he doesn't need to lose 2 positions. He doesn't want to do that, but he's done that. He's done exactly that. Has the pressure, I don't know. Has the pressure got to some of these championship contenders here? And we've seen Brunson
I think his
go
tides
out.
are gone.
Yeah. We've seen Brunson go
slow,
out.
We've
seen Brunson go out. We've seen Chris go out. Ah, no. And let's go back. I mean, look at these 3. We've got Josu and Overkill's battling out once again. Josu, mate, don't crash yourself out, please. We want a championship battle to go to the end of the wire, please. We want more contenders in it as much as possible, please. Don't do this. Now, once again, the Red Bull driver is going to be around the outside, is he? No, he's not close enough. But it's not worth it. Just stay behind him for the next lap. It's not worth it. But you have got Flying Rossi on your tail, so you probably don't. You probably want to get in front of. Actually, to be fair, you probably want to get in front of Overkill. To be honest with you, you've got a fast Williams behind you, and he's on the super softs. I mean, his super softs will be pretty worse for wear. So it's in terms of pace, it'd be pretty much equal on each other. Let's turn our attentions back to the leaders. These two have been scrapping it out for the entirety of this race since the first lap. And it's going to be across the line for the final lap of the race. Here we go. Let's keep with these two. It's all the playful still. It's not over yet. Dasval is still within DRS of F1 Maestro. But the gap is within, it's sort of 8/10 now. And it's looking like Maestro's going to take another victory and edge himself into the championship lead now. He completes the first sector for the final time here in Brazil. And he's keeping it all clean. And Maestro, again, such a clean guy on track limits. And he's done it again today. It's been a fantastic race, a fantastic battle between these two boys. And these two will be going into the last race of the season as championship contenders. Maestro will be leading the championship. Dasvel will still have a sniff at the championship. So it's been a solid day for these two. They've been definitely my drivers of the day indeed. They've been superb and made no mistakes, kept their heads, and not bottled when things have counted. They've got to the end. The final proper corner of F1 Maestro. Now he's going to be winding it up down this uphill kind of section, this flat out section. Now here he comes. F1 Maestro is going to have a fantastic day in Brazil. It's another victory for F1 Maestro. He wins here in Brazil. Dasval in second place. What a fantastic race for both of them. They're going to Abu Dhabi as championship contenders. It's on the line. It's Flying Rossi who comes third place in the end, scores his podium of the season. We've got Josu in fourth place. He will go to Abu Dhabi as a contender. And Overkill's in fifth place. Pelzeri is going to come home in P6. Midzi, championship leader, no longer. He's going to be P7 in the end. And that, I'm afraid, he'd probably be upset with that. But it's still 6 points solidly done in the bag. Blazer Guns in 8th place, and Jamie going to come home the line in 9th place. And that has been it for your Brazilian Grand Prix. A fantastic one to watch, fascinating twists and turns, and that has been absolutely fascinating to watch. Ben, give me your thoughts.
Crazy, very, very crazy. Yeah, I mean, great race long battle between Maestro and Daz, and that's what we've needed, and perfect time to have it. There was just battles all around. Like, you could not stick to one battle, because if you stuck to that, there'll be another 3 elsewhere. Yeah, great race, probably one of the best of the season by a good margin. Very, very enjoyable indeed.
Exactly, mate. I'll let you take through the final classification.
Alright, so F1 Maestro takes the win at the Brazilian Grand Prix and also the lead of the championship with 1 race to go. Dasvel closely behind in 2nd place. Flying Rossi taking 3rd place with penalties getting involved. Josu taking 4th place, good result for him. Overkill's in 5th after penalties being applied. Pelzeri in 6th. Midzi with a disappointing 7th, surely for him. 8th place will be Blazer Guns, very good result for him. Jamie in 9th. Blumson in 10th. Anti-Beacon in 11th. Bibbin in 12th. Revolution in 13th. Kaisi in 14th. And Chris Macca-Jones in 15th. And that is going to be very, very tense. The final round.
It will be, mate. Yeah. If you want, you can do the championship. Championship. You can do the podium interviews. Now, I'm just gonna calculate the championship and see where it will be going to the final race of the season, so we can actually see who's contending for the championship. So I'll let you get on with the podium interviews. So I'm gonna get Maestro in the party. We're gonna get Dasfell as well.
Yeah, that's alright. I haven't done interviews in a bit of a while.
Well done, James.
Thank you.
How sweaty are the palms then, James?
Not as sweaty as you might think. I knew he had penalties, so it's fine.
Oh, okay, that's so good. We was hoping you might find that out.
GG does. It's pretty epic.
Yeah, good race, that wasn't it? I just couldn't find a way past, so I kind of gave up with the last 2 laps. And my tyres
Yeah.
were going off a bit. I thought, fuck it, I'll take seconds rather than crashing us both out.
Yeah.
Make sure you
You
include
gained
your audio,
points
boys.
on. Yeah, I have.
Right, Rosie, you there?
Yep.
Oh, there we go. So, right then, Maestro, for another win to add to the tally. You also take away going into the final race of the season, the championship lead. Talk us through that race because you had a very very long battle with Daz, and how was that for you?
Yeah, it was a great race. True to Daz as well, and Rosie on the podium. It looked like it was a pretty good battle for third in the last 3 laps. But yeah, qualified on pole, did my PB again, like last week in quali. So just managed to sneak on pole. Was really competitive with. Saw a few people giving slipstream, which I didn't get the luxury of, but still managed to put it on pole. Got a good start and kept the lead. Although Daz did have a look up the inside, we kept it nice and clean. But unfortunately, I couldn't break out of DRS, so Daz got past on the first in. I tried to fight it back, but couldn't. But just sat behind, saving the fuel in the ERS, etc. And then he pitted on lap 12, which I thought was too early. I didn't want to risk the tires at the end, so I did another lap and actually somehow managed to overcome. I'm guessing the mediums took a while to warm up. And then Jamie got into the lead for a bit, but he dropped back because he pitted really early and got a puncture at the end. And yeah, just managed to use the high fuel and ERS on the straights to make sure Daz couldn't pose a threat on the later laps, and brought it home, which puts me in a very strong position for next week.
Yeah, and talking about the tires, obviously with the new patch, it kind of fixed this tire temps glitch. And we saw a lot of people on the softest tire. Was that due to the updated patch on the tire temps, or was that just the nature of the track?
Oh no, definitely due to the tire temps update. Like personally, well, you saw Jamie got a puncture, so super soft medium was touch and go even without the update. So even with the update, so without it, I think it would have been near impossible. Although I'm sure Rossi would have attempted it, but because he went for soft to supers, I think. So yeah, but I don't think it would have been the quickest strategy if they hadn't introduced the patch. But luckily, I think everyone was able to adapt to that, and we still got a pretty good race with quite a lot of battling at some points.
So going into the final race, what are you going to do to make sure you finish it knowing you're the F2 champion?
Well, for Midzi to win the championship, he has to finish first or second, if my maths is correct. So he hasn't done that since Germany, so it's looking good for me. But all I have to do is finish fifth if Midzi wins, and if he finishes second, finish eighth, and the championship's mine. So I'm not going to take any stupid risks, and I'll just do my best to do a nice clean race, as I've managed for a majority of these post-Christmas races, which have got me back in the championship fight.
Obviously, man, I'll say once again, congrats on a win, and we look forward to watching you in the final race. But Daz, very, very good race once again. We've seen a few of these where you're just really on it. Likewise in Singapore. Just talk us through your race as a whole. What was that like for you?
As a whole, I enjoyed it. It was a good race, good battling with Maestro. It's a long time since I've battled like that with someone a whole race. A couple of times I should have stuck my nose in, but I didn't. Qualifying was good. I was going to go for two laps. I did my first lap and got the 0.88 or whatever it was. And I thought that might have been good enough to get pole, so I didn't do the second, which I maybe should have done thinking about it. Good start off the line. I thought I could just pass Maestro, but he had a better line coming out of the whatever that corner's called. And then after that, got to the second stint. Maestro just had that little bit better pace on the mediums than I did, but could manage to keep with him just because of the DRS, to be honest.
Yeah, like you mentioned, how you could have stuck your nose in. Do you reckon it was you think you missed an opportunity there to potentially take the win there? Because
No, I definitely didn't miss an opportunity. It was just maybe I could have dived in and gone, try to push him wide, but I don't really try. I like doing that. I'd rather have a clean race and bring on second, especially when we're heading the constructors. At the minute,
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
maybe not now.
I'm not too sure. It's touch and go.
Yeah.
It's very, very close. Say that.
McLaren are 16 points ahead of Force India, if my maths is correct.
Right.
Maybe. I'm not going to.
It's going to be tough to keep on of.
Okay, going into the final race, then obviously, I'm sure your mindset is probably more on the constructors, I would say. I'm not too sure. Maybe you are focusing on drivers as well.
No, yeah. To be fair, mine is.
What are you going to do to try and make sure McLaren stay on top for the final race?
Just do the same again, hopefully. Just try and find some pace on that track. I've never really raced it, but try and do a bit of sweating this week.
That's the way to do
hopefully.
it. Yeah, absolutely, man. Hope to see you at the podium again next week. But Rosie, if you're there.
Yep.
Very quiet race actually. From what I saw. Talk us through your strategy, because made it work. Very, very good strategy. Gained a lot from that. Just talk us through that.
Well, I just didn't have any one lap pace, so sort of had to start down in the 12th, I think it was. So I got a decent start. Got 3 places by the first lap. Just drove a clean race, clear air. Me and Bromson were working together for a bit, but so I pitted for the supers, but Bromson had a crash into the back of me, like while we were both on supers. So I apologised to him, but there's nothing really I could do. So and yeah, just closing on Josu to the last few laps, and I thought I was going to be 5th again, but luckily he got a penalty like right at the end, so got a podium.
Yeah, and I just want to mention this because I think it's a good achievement. Your first podium of the season. How does that feel for you? You're quite consistent actually. How does it feel to finally get on that podium step?
Yeah, it's quite good. So one lap pace has never been my thing, so I was always starting quite far back. So it's quite hard to get a podium from there. But yeah, I didn't think I'd get around this track because I was just struggling so much in practice. But yeah, it's welcome surprise.
So obviously, you're not obviously in the championship fight, but where would you like to see yourself in just to top off the season?
Another strong result, I think. Because I've not been in a title fight since about Spain, so yeah, just be nice to get a decent result to finish off the season.
Absolutely, man, and obviously I hope you get another strong result for next week, because it's good to see you on the podium step. But I'll give it back to Dom.
Yeah, congrats guys on the podium. It was a great race to watch, particularly through Dasvo and yourself, Maestro. It was a great battle. So well done both of you. A race long battle. It was fascinating to watch. It was thoroughly enjoyable. And congrats to you, Rosie, on the podium. I kind of kept under the radar and just got it done. Really, it was a super result for you as well. So from what I've calculated, I could be completely wrong. We've gone from 8 championship contenders down to 3. Going into Abu Dhabi, could be wrong. But yeah, Maestro, you'll be going into that as the leader, and you've got Mizzy in second, and I think Jossu will be third going into things. So I think Jossu will just be within contention. So really, it is between Mizzy and Maestro going into the final race of the season, from what I've calculated. So it's going to be a pretty interesting battle going into the final race of the season, but we'll be back next week to show that off. But it's been a fascinating race, twists and turns like this whole season, and a lot of surprises like this whole season. So we'll be back next week for the final race of the season. Thanks guys for watching.